Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway Series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Vivian.
And we hope you enjoy the show. Welcome everyone to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we talk about the funny train show. My name is Jamie, pronouns she, her. I am your hostess with the mostest, and these are my co-hosts.
Hey Marina, your local TV series bitch, pronouns she, her. It's hot today.
I'm Liv. I'm British. Pip pip cheerio. I just bought the fucking Audrey Railway DVD from the Thailand Railway because I don't know what to spend my money on.
Mood.
Hi. Yeah, we are recording this in the past, so tomorrow is the big Audrey extravaganza. Or at least the beginning of the big Audrey extravaganza. You know, tomorrow we're gonna have a big lecture stream. We're gonna find out if Sam Wilkinson is going to just fucking run over the Gordon and Henry props with one of the Talclin locomotives.
So Handel's just like, I've been wanting to fucking kill Gordon for years now.
God.
We'll see how well this statement ages when this happens tomorrow, but...
Oh boy,
So I've actually realized something.
Yeah?
So far, every Railway Series book, which is a multiple of 3, has sucked.
I mean...
We've only had 2 of them, I guess?
We've only had 2 of them so far.
But that's still setting up a pattern.
I mean, what's... God, which one is... Number 9 is Edward. Edward's book doesn't suck.
It's like the third console curse.
This episode isn't about Henry, though. It's about Gordon. Which is, you know...
Gord.
You know, it's interesting. I feel like this is kind of the start of the trend where, like, you know, in certain books that are, like, super character-focused, there'll be at least one story in the middle that's about an entirely unrelated character. Or, not entirely unrelated, but, like, more tangentially related. So, like, you know, Henry's feeling this and so, and now we're gonna see how Gordon feels, or whatever. I don't know.
Percy's also here for a second.
Yeah, you know, Percy's also in the next story for a second. Which, you know, that story only takes 1 second, but that's next week.
I was also here for a few seconds.
Yeah. This episode is also weird. We haven't said the title of the episode yet, I think. This is Gordon's Whistle.
Or whistles and sneezes.
Yeah, that's a weird thing about this, is that in the first season of the TV series, they combined this story and Henry Sneeze into one episode. And it's the only one out of the, like, combined episodes that doesn't make any sense.
I feel like I get why they did it on paper, because I feel like
the story, like, the rest of the stories in this book are, like, pretty short.
Yeah.
I also feel like Gordon's Whistle isn't really needed for the wider arc.
Yeah, but it's just...
mostly because we just breezed through the wider arc. None of these stories are important to the wider arc.
Yeah, I feel like what happened with the TV series was, for whatever reason, they didn't want to do another story from Gordon's book or something to fill in the gap. But then, for whatever reason, they chose to do both of these the same, because, like, if this was season 3, or maybe season 2, like, they would have done like, spoilers, I guess, like a Scar for Percy with these stories. Like, I think they would have fleshed them out to last, like, the full 4 minutes.
Season 2 has stuff like Thomas Percy and the Coal, which is very much like, they take the baseline of that story and expand it to the point where it actually works.
Yeah. That story's like a weird case where it was written for the TV series anyway, but who knows. Because you can tell in the first half of, like, the episode of this, they're struggling to have visuals for certain parts. Like, they just hang on Edward's face for a while he doesn't say anything. Just because
Yeah.
there's nothing in the scene.
I do really like this story on paper, though, just because, like, I feel like this story is not, like, as fleshed out as it could be, but I think there is potential for it to be very, very funny.
Yeah.
It is already kind of funny, but, like, you know, I feel like it's a very underexplored premise, I think.
Yeah. I think if this was, like, readapted in, like, say, like, a later model series season, or, like, maybe, like, the CGI series, they could have done something a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and...
Like, you know, focus more on Gordon being a little fucking uppity dipshit, and then it's just, like, I feel like the scene of him just screaming later on, essentially, would be way better with the CGI.
Yeah.
It'd be even way better with, like, season, like, you know, 3 or 4 model work, because then they might actually be able to do any of the things. But I think we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves. Why don't we get into the story itself?
Yeah, let's do it. Gordon was cross. Why should Henry have a new shape? He grumbled. A shape good enough for me is good enough for him. He goes gallivanting off to Crewe, leaving us to do his work. It's disgraceful. And there's another thing. Henry whistles too much. No respectable engine ever whistles loudly in stations. It isn't wrong, said Gordon, but we just don't do it. Poor Henry didn't feel happy anymore. Never mind, whispered Percy. I'm glad you are home again. I like your whistling.
God, I feel like the fucking... It isn't wrong, but we just don't do it. Like, on the one hand, that is kind of a fun line, but I feel like everyone who quotes it misses the entire point of it. Which is that Gordon's being an
it's
asshole.
complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you have to whistle when going into a station? That's kind of a rule of being a train?
Yeah. Then again, we all know Gordon's pretty shit at being a train, so I mean...
Gordon's shit at most things.
Yeah. Fucking idiot.
Gordon would find a way to fucking, like, set something on fire while playing Uno.
You have Uno. Came free with your Xbox.
You have Uno, Gordon. No, James, I don't have Uno. I have the oldest Xbox known to man.
James, I have the oldest Xbox known to man.
Bullshit, I got mine day one.
I don't have it. God. Oh, God.
Also, hello, Benry, in the window. Anytime there's just a blue engine off screen that looks, you know, not enough like Edward or Gordon, I'm just gonna call it Benry.
He's still around.
It really doesn't look like Edward, because, like, the wheels are kind of weird.
He's got the dipped running board at the front. That has to be Benry.
Benry's skulking around the yard still. What's he planning?
We'll never know. I do kind of, you know, this page is very strange, I think. Like, you know... Well, first of all, I love Percy comforting Henry. You know?
Yeah, look at Percy's little happy face.
Yeah. You know, Gordon's being a fucking, like, spoil sport and being like, you know, how dare Henry, like, you know, go to the hospital to get surgery for his disabilities, you know? And, you know, he's fucking raining on Henry's parade. And Percy's like, hey, don't listen to him. You're cool. That's very nice of him. And of course James is fucking going along with it. Fucker.
It's nice as well, considering Percy and Henry's only interaction before this point is Percy scaring the shit out of him with a fucking Call of the Demon.
Yeah. Also, just Gordon's dialogue here is a bit strange to me, just because, like, you know, Gordon starts by talking about the whole shape thing, which, like, you know, I think is supposed to maybe be a reference to how similar he and Henry looked before. Like, you know, a shape
I think
good...
that, and just Gordon doesn't like it when engines other than him get special treatment.
Yeah. It is also kind of ironic considering, like, you know, in the lore, like, we talked about this in fucking Thomas and Gordon, I think, about how Gordon, like, you know, like a couple years after this, he goes to crew and gets like a new chassis or whatever. I already said that's dumb, but it happened, so I just have to live with it. And then he just abruptly changes the conversation to whistling, and it's.
Do you
like,
think? Do you think that Gordon's just like he just wants multiple things to be able to be mean to Henry about, so he's just making shit up as he goes?
I think it might be a bit of both. Like, he's just kind of winging it when it comes to like reasons to call out Henry.
I'm making a call-out post on my Twitter.com.
God. Percy, it's horrible. I've been cancelled on Twitter.com.
God.
Well, Henry, maybe you shouldn't have said things 10 years ago.
I mean, he does say the N-word later in this book, so...
Well, maybe you shouldn't have said all of those racial slurs, Henry. Oh, but if I said covered in ash, the coal miners would get mad at me. You can't say anything in this politically correct climate, Percy.
Oh my god!
Henry, you're my friend and all that. I like spending time with you, but I think you're spending a bit too much time watching Fox News, buddy.
But but it's the truth. Bill Gates is putting 5G microchips into vaccines.
Oh my god.
Percy, they're turning the frogs gay.
Henry just really likes listening to Alex Jones, who in this universe is just Gordon.
It's just Gordon's alter ego.
I
He
mean,
just has
you
a
know what? I
podcast.
feel like Gordon in canon does bring out the worst in Henry, I think. So, you know, maybe there's some precedent to that.
God. Can't say anything in this SJW liberal propaganda state, Percy.
God.
I really like the illustration here because I feel like you can... I feel like you can tell like exactly like what's going on before even reading it, which like it's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's very good. I especially like how Henry looks. Like, Dolby
Yeah, Henry
draws
looks
Henry
great here.
really well after his rebuild, I think. Like, I love how well-proportioned he is. I like his face.
I think it's because if he didn't draw Henry well after the rebuild, Audrey would have snapped his neck.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I stopped
Clarence?
using Henry much after
Clarence? Clarence, you are already dead.
Goodbye, Henry, called Gordon the next morning as he left the shed. We are glad to have you with us again, but be sure to remember what I said about whistling. Later on, Henry took a slow train and presently stopped at Edward's station. Hello, Henry, said Edward. You look splendid. I was pleased to hear your happy whistle yesterday. Thank you, Edward, smiled Henry. Can you hear something? Edward listened. Far away, but getting louder and louder, was the sound of an engine's whistle. Edward.
this.
Yes, Edward. He looks nice.
He's here.
so happy to see his friend Henry.
Hey.
I'm also just now noticing this looking at the illustration, but you can see, like, that's either, like, just some, like, crew people on the platform. Like, you know, one of them's pointing out towards, like, the distance, and one of them's holding his ears. I think that's a very good detail.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
See, I just noticed next to Edward, there's just a guy standing in a truck.
That's very good.
What's he doing there?
I don't know. Working, I guess.
Shit, maybe that's the H-Wagon.
Oh, fuck yeah, H-Wagon. I'm gonna fucking put the H-GIF in there.
B's H-Wagon strikes again.
Yes.
We can't see the H, but I'm counting that as the H-Wagon.
I'm gonna put it on the front of the wagon as if that's the face. I love the, I just love the conversation here. Like, you know, Edward and Henry are, you know, they're pretty good friends when, like, you know, Gordon's isn't,
not
like,
around.
peer pressuring Henry into being an asshole.
I always kind of thought it was a bit weird how they pushed Edward and Henry as, like, a thing for a while in the Hit era. But, like, Now I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's because they share their exile from the main character cast together.
Yeah, I think it might have been because, like, they were the easiest to kind of, like, shove
The easiest
together.
to pair up because
Yeah, and, like, not... Because, like, obviously, like, they wouldn't want to give, like, Thomas, like, Percy and James all their own stuff, and, like, Toby kind of stands on his own anyway, and, like...
And Gordon's the big one.
Yeah, Gordon's the, like, most...
Gordon's the big one, you know.
Yeah.
Emily's the
kind
girl.
of does her own thing, I guess. So, like, these two are kind of the easiest to, like, put together.
Yeah. And they were definitely the ones they kind of always were lowest priority.
Yeah.
Was there like a song?
Yeah, the
About them being
fucking, like,
friends?
shitty-ass working together song. Working together. Do, 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 do. Edward pushes from the back, helping Henry up the track or whatever. It's
Henry
honestly a
stop
pretty
the
shitty
track.
song. Like, all of the hit era songs are extremely mediocre, but that one's by far the worst in my opinion.
There's a few...
Yeah, there were like a few with decent beats, but like not really much beyond that.
Yeah.
I honestly like all of the Calling All Engines ones. And like
Yeah, those are good.
I think the special ones tended to be better than the normal ones.
Yeah.
Where is Thomas? Where the fuck is he?
I only really remember, like, of the normal ones, like, Surprises, Determination, and...
They come all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
I like both of those. I guess...
I liked Strength because I liked the beat of it as a kid.
Yeah, that's another one I always did like.
I really wish I could, like, see in the hit era, which a lot of people have recently, because, like, you know, a lot of people are like, hey, the, you know, hit model era is a lot better than people say it is, but, like, every time I watch it, it's like...
not.
It's not. Like, I wish I could see in it what they saw, because, you know, being not liking things and being negative about it is, like, you know, it is kind of a bummer, but at the same time it's true. I don't know.
I feel like with the hit model era, at least for me, it's like, it's harmless, and there's like some decent episodes and moments and stuff, and like if I ever watch it, like it's never, like I never find myself really hating it outside of like certain episodes, whereas like
it's just kind of
I like
inoffensively boring.
it's like in the Nitrogen era, like there's like I genuinely dislike most of it, whereas it's like I think the hit model era doesn't reach like outside of like a few episodes, like it doesn't reach the lows, like the lowest the series can go, but it also doesn't really reach the heights of honestly any other era in the show.
Yeah.
Like I like was it like the hit model era? It's like I like season 8. Like I genuinely think season 8 is like good, and like there's like one or two other episodes maybe, and that's about it. And then otherwise it's kind of shit.
Yeah, it is just kind of... Yeah. We've gone pretty far off topic. It's because there's not much to say.
Edward's got his funky sighting again.
Yeah, it does. That's good. Edward's sighting is good.
I look at that's a consistent thing every time we see Edward Station.
Yeah. It's nice.
Like he's there in like he's there in fucking Balled Out, he's there in like A Close Shave.
He's not in the episode. He's not in the siding. Like he's just on the track, even though the siding is there.
He's just sitting on the main line for some reason.
It's
yeah,
weird.
it's really weird.
I think maybe
he's
it's
wrong
because they
roading in
wanted...
that shot, isn't he?
I think he is. I think it's just because they wanted a shot of Gordon going through the two of them, like in the center.
Yeah, which was a cool
that
shot.
makes sense from like a staging perspective, but it's also kind of hilarious from like a realistic perspective because Edward is just fucking wrong roading for whatever reason.
He's wrong roading and he's not even going anywhere.
Yeah, fucking like James or whoever is gonna run straight into him. It's a lucky thing Gordon was going down the express line.
It sounds like Gordon, said Edward, and it ought to be Gordon, but Gordon never whistles like that. It was Gordon. He came rushing down the hill at a tremendous rate. He didn't look at Henry, and he didn't look at Edward. He was purple in the boiler and whistling fit to burst. He screamed through the station and disappeared. Well, said Edward, looking at Henry. It isn't wrong, chuckled Henry, but we just don't do it. And he told Edward what Gordon had said.
God,
I always liked this scene.
Yeah, this scene is very good. Like, my only problem with it isn't really with this scene. It's more just the fact that we don't actually get to see the scene where Gordon's whistle jams open. Like, that, I feel like that could have been a scene on its own.
Yeah.
But
see,
instead...
like, I get that. I totally get that, but at the same time, I do think it's kind of funny that even when the story isn't focusing on it, Sodor's talk shit, get hit thing is always in effect.
Yeah, it just activated off screen, and now Gordon's becoming a screaming banshee.
I think
I also
just
love in the
the
illustration
idea
you can
of-
see the horses darting off. That's really cool.
Yeah, they're terrified.
Yeah.
Like, I do really like the idea of just kind of like... Henry's just going about his day, and then he just passes Gordon, who's just screaming.
Yeah. Like, it also... that would be something that'd probably be very hard to accomplish in the model series, though, just because it's static models.
Yeah.
And something that bothers me about the episode, though, is that when Gordon's whistle jams open, it's not really Gordon's whistle. It's like some weird, different pitched whistle, and I don't know why. Like, is that a thing that happens? Like, if a steam whistle jams open, is the pitch different? Or, like,
Well, no,
did they
I
just
imagine
fuck
that
up?
it would just... I imagine that would just be, like, the same pitch as always, because it's just steam going through the same whistle, they just can't close it.
Yeah, so why does it sound different in the episode? What the fuck?
Because they're stupid.
They're very
Okay.
inconsistent with whistles, like, always in the show. And I don't
Yeah, but
get
I think they
why.
were pretty good about it in season 1, at least. After in, like,
in
seasons
season
2, 3,
1, they didn't
and
exactly
4,
have many
and 5.
characters to work with,
Yeah.
so it wasn't exactly very hard for them to get it right.
Yeah. I feel like the fucking inconsistent whistles was at its worst in season 4, because that's why Oliver's whistle was permanently ruined. But, you know. Yeah, not much else I have to say.
I like Gordon's face in this.
Yeah, it's a very good face. I love the purple. The purple in the boiler is a weird phrase, but I assume that's supposed to mean, like, you know, purple in the face.
I feel like purple in the smoke box would have worked better.
Yeah. But, you know, you can see
But I
it
don't think-
on there, and
I don't think he's used smoke box at this point in the series.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gordon screeched along the line. People came out of their houses. Air raid sirens started. 5 fire brigades got ready to go out. Horses upset their carts, and old ladies dropped their parcels. At a big station, the noise was awful. Porters and passengers held their ears. The Fat Controller held his ears too. He gave a lot of orders, but no one could hear them. And Gordon went on whistling. At last, he clambered into Gordon's cab. "Take him away!" he bellowed. "And stop that noise!"
I love this. Like, I really wish some of these got adapted into the TV series somehow.
Yeah.
I want to see a montage of just all this shit happening because of Gordon's whistle. It's amazing. It is a crime we did not get a
The
proper
fucking
adaptation of the story.
chaos.
Yeah, I want to see all the fire trucks coming along, like, you know, just fucking like a stop motion thing of like an old lady dropping a parcel.
People
like, just,
thinking they're
Oh,
about
God,
to get
I
bombed.
just had-
yeah,
I just had the stupidest fucking idea.
What?
They readapt this in the CGI series, and one of the fire engines is Flynn, and he just comes up and he says, "Oh, you're not on fire."
God. Here's the thing.
well, you know,
that's
it says a siren starts going, so maybe that could be the rescue center.
Yeah.
that sounds like
So
something
they
would
send
do.
Flynn out. They send
Yeah.
Flynn out because they assume Gordon's on fire again.
Well, I think the air raid sirens are going is because they think the whistle's supposed to sound like bombs dropping.
God.
Okay, but like genuinely now, like I kind of wish they'd done like some more classic series episode readaptations in the CGI series because I feel like this would actually be one that would work really well.
Yeah.
This would work really well. It's very good. I've also just noticed this, but in the text they said a big station, right?
Yeah, a big station.
Yeah, so this...
I actually read it as the big station.
Well, like, I think, like, you know, that it could be interesting, because maybe, like, you know, the big station is Tidmouth, but, like, maybe this could, like, you know, maybe be at, like, Kronk or somewhere. Although, given the way Gordon's traveling, it's probably not likely, but, you know...
Kronk
think
is a funny word.
What's in...
Or am I thinking of... No, I'm thinking of
Wells?
either Marin or maybe not Marin. Like, one of the ones that we've never actually seen, but is supposed to be big, like Kildane.
Yeah. I think you maybe see, like, a tiny bit of the Kildane town in one of Chris's books.
Yeah, because, like, Henry passes by the fucking Standing Stones or whatever.
It's like, what is in between, Wellsworth and Tidmouth? It's like Crosby...
Crosby and
Is it just
Farker, and that's it. Also, the one random station that gets forgotten.
Oh, but he's at the loop line station!
Yeah! It's the
Oh,
loop line
come
This is the loop line!
Fuck you.
Oh, fuck! Holy shit.
Everybody, this is the loop line. We figured it out. This is why Benry showed up earlier. This is the loop line yard.
Yeah.
God. Gordon was
It
sent.
all comes full circle.
Gordon was sent there for his crimes.
Yeah. Is there anything else we have to say about this page?
No, I just think it's funny.
I feel like
Yeah, I do too. It's very good. Like, I'm looking at the illustration. You can see people, like, leaving their houses and being like, what the hell's going on?
yeah, and you see like the fire truck and shit. I
Yeah.
like the Fat Controller just being like, stop the noise, please.
And just nobody can hear him, so he has to, like, climb into the cab and scream.
Yeah.
I do really wish they kept the, like... He yelled a lot of orders, but no one could hear him in the
Yeah,
TV
that's
series.
such a good line!
Yeah.
The sad thing is, like, the story already isn't that great, but with the TV series episode, because of the way they adapted it, they cut a lot of the fun from it.
Yeah.
They just made it even worse. I feel like of the two, this is the one they definitely could have, like, very easily, like, expanded just a little to fit 4 minutes. But, like, I feel like they'd have to add, like, a little more than what's in the story itself, and, like, I don't know if they were allowed to at this point, based on...
I think they had taken, like, a fair few creative liberties with, like, at least, like, 1 or 2 other episodes.
I think the biggest change to any of the stories so far was actually in, like, Sad Story of Henry, where they add the introduction for who the Fat Controller is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We want to move on.
Yeah, let's finish
Please.
this.
Still whistling, Gordon puffed sadly away. He whistled as he crossed the points. He whistled on the sidings. He was still whistling as the last deafened passenger left the station. Then 2 fitters climbed up and knocked his whistle valve into place. And there was silence. Gordon slunk into the shed. He was glad it was empty. The others came in later. "It isn't wrong," muttered Henry, to no one in particular, "but we just don't do it." No one mentioned whistles.
God, I completely forgot that, like, you know, that first kind of part of that page was in it. That's very good.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it kind of starts with it being like, you know, like a usual line, like, you know, Gordon whistled when he went to do the thing. Like, okay. And then you remember, oh wait, he's just constantly whistling,
Yeah.
so he's just whistling the entire time all these things are happening.
God, his driver and fireman must be fucking deaf.
I like the
Yeah.
wording of the
It
as
must
the
fucking
last
suck to
deafened
be there.
passenger left.
Yeah, steam train whistles are so fucking loud. Like, could you fucking imagine?
I genuinely think one of the loudest whistles I've ever heard is actually from Sir Hayden.
Yeah, she's got an A4 whistle, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has a like Gresley A4 whistle.
Yeah, that shit's loud. I'm pretty sure they had to like recall those or something because they sounded like air raid sirens.
Wait, she
See,
still
I
has
do
it?
just like yeah, she still has it. I just love the fact that like tiny little narrow gauge engine just has this fucking massive whistle. It's probably the exact same as Gordon's.
Now I want
Yeah.
Sir Handel to have that.
God, I think there was an enterprising engine story that used that as an idea. I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I like James just being like, oh look, Gordon got into shit.
Yeah, James is kind of out of place in this illustration, I think. Kind of like
Gordon-
messes up the framing and isn't actually like mentioned in the story. He's just kind of there laughing. I feel like that should be Henry laughing at the very least, but Henry's
Like,
already going the
Henry's
opposite
back up
direction, so I mean,
Wellsworth.
whatever.
He's probably in Vicarstown by now.
Yeah. But yeah. This is a fun
Gordon's
story.
talking
I
again.
wish there was more meat on its bones.
Yeah.
We want to just move into
I think-
rankings. We're already out of story to talk about.
Yes.
I think wishing there's more meat on its bones is kind of just a permeating thing for this entire book.
Yeah, you know, I do wonder if that's like, maybe like, in terms of like criticisms you could make, if that's like, if the worst thing you have to say about a story is, I wish there was more of it. I feel like that is actually a pretty good criticism for something to receive, because like, it's good enough that you want to see more of it, but at the same time, it also needs more of it to feel complete. So I mean,
Yeah.
See, I'm going to quote a Some Call Me Johnny video for this. It doesn't leave me wanting more, it leaves me asking where the rest of it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a pretty good summary of this book so far. It's like,
yeah.
it's not a, oh boy, I wish there was more of this. There should be more of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna move into my, like, rankings.
Yeah, go for it.
So, like, I forgot to mention this at, like, the front of the story when I really should have said it. But, like, my thoughts on the story is that this story feels like it could have easily, like, fit, like, between Cole and the Flying Kipper. Like, literally all you have to do is change the new shape jealousy to special Cole jealousy. Just change all the mentions of the new shape to being about the new Cole, and it'd be perfectly fine. And, just add a little bit of, add a little bit more to the story so it's not literally just 5 pages, and it'd be perfect, I think. Like, this is, like, as it stands, this is probably my favorite story in the book, but it is in need of improvement, I think, which, unfortunately, it didn't get in the TV version and will probably never get at this rate. So, even though this is my favorite, I feel like the most I can give it is, like, a Percy.
I am
Or,
actually.
well, actually, maybe... Fuck it, I'll give it a Toby, just because reading this I feel nice, but it's like a mid to low Toby.
Yeah, this.
Like a season 19 Toby.
Yeah.
Truth About Toby was a fun episode, though. I think that's what it was called.
No, genuine thing, I love CGI Toby, but he's not as good. So he's like kind of bottom of the barrel Toby. He's still great, because all Tobys are great, but he's not as great.
All Tobys are great. Tag.
I.
A-tab, all Tobys are bastards.
Oh no!
That's not true. Toby's great.
Toby is wonderful. I'm so excited to get to his book.
You're wonderful. And I'm excited too.
Wonderful. Yeah, alright, share your rankings with us.
The story gets a Percy for me. It's fine. There's some fun little bits, so it's not like completely nothing to me. But like, it's fine.
I feel pretty much the exact same. Like, Percy. There are some fun bits for it. Like, I really like pretty much everything with Gordon at the big station, and I love the scene with Edward and like Henry just watching Gordon go by. I mean, that's a lot of fun. But that's not enough to give it like a high ranking, because it's just, as a story, it's just too weak.
Yeah, it 100%. Like, this is a good story on paper, like I said at the beginning. It's just there's just not enough of it.
Yeah.
And it's also, like, you know, paced confusingly and could easily fit in the time between Cole and Flying Kipper and alleviate some of the, like, you know, just some of the problems that we talked about in the last episode, where that story just felt like it came way too quickly off the heels of Cole. You know, this could have alleviated that if it was in the middle. Like, not by much, because it wasn't actually about the special Cole, but, you know, it would be something. It would be anything. But yeah.
Yeah. It was very nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Gordon's Whistle. So next time we'll be talking about the fourth and final story in this book, Henry Sneeze.
No, we won't.
Wait, what? It's a Railway Series book. They only have 4 stories.
No, Jamie, we have a bonus story.
Oh boy!
Filler time, gamers and not gamers.
It's time for us to get another story about Percy. I'm so excited.
I mean, you know, it's Percy. How bad could it be?
How bad could it fucking be?
Next time on the Railway Series Book Club, we're gonna talk about the only filler episode in the Railway Series.
Yeah. God.
Is that why you don't like the Railway Series that much? It doesn't have a ton of filler.
Yeah. It all makes sense now. My favorite episodes of basically every show I watch are usually the filler, like, crap. So,
I mean, what is the Skarloey Railway if not Audrey, like, begging for filler so that way he doesn't have to think about writing the main line during modernization?
The Skarloey Railway is he just doesn't want to look at James.
I can't bear to look at this mess. I need to go to Teleclin.
I just love the idea of, like, Audrey visiting Sodor and just, like, he just doesn't want to fucking talk to the big engines at a certain point, so he just keeps visiting the narrow gauge engines.
Audrey had never seen such a mess.
Yup. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.